Have you ever shared your first kiss stories with your friends? Like, I've heard some horror stories and some stories that are like whackety whack. But, I mean, honestly, I would say that mine wasn't bad. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, was it really a first kiss? Or how extreme can a first kiss be at 5th grade? Well, I don't want to know. Yeah, nasties. I don't want to know about yours. But at least for mine, I would say it was an 8 out of 10. It was a classic first kiss. Anyways, cue the intro. Yo, what's up for the Broken Fam? It's your girl, Priscilla Zepeda, and thank you so much for listening. For this episode, I wanted to be a little bit lighthearted, and of course, if it is not for the Broken Podcast without sharing embarrassing or truthful moments of my life. We're going to be talking about childhood and teenage years, and also, in the end of the day, be like, what would be my words of advice that I would give to my younger self. We're going to be going down memory lane and start with childhood memories. As much as I like to share my childhood trauma and all things of what is wrong with me, there is also good in my childhood memories, okay? And one thing that I would remember a lot is how before electronics and before everything else, like, I was outside 24/7 and I would just play all the time. And it was so nice because even though we didn't have watches or our phones or anything like that, see the lights go off for the front porches or anything like that, you knew that you had to get your butt inside because you would get in trouble. I feel like things were a lot slower. Things were so simple. I always remember that, when you're a child, you always imagine getting older and doing all the adult things and all that stuff. And you're just so excited to grow up. Well, newsflash, my dude. If I could go back and tell myself, like, can you calm down? Like, adulting, it ain't no fun. It is not fun. It is not for the weak. I am telling you that. Yes, there are perks, but adulting is overrated, dude. Don't even bother. Just go back and enjoy your childhood. That's what I would tell my younger self. But yeah, like, playing outside was such a thing. I lived in a neighborhood, so I feel like if you have a group of friends, there's always that house that everyone will meet up. That would be the link up spot, and my neighbor was the house. So a lot of us, when we wanted to go play outside, we would go to my neighbor's house, and that's where we would go and meet up and all that stuff. And the cool thing about it was that when we would play football or baseball or anything like that, we would use both our backyards because we didn't have any fence. And so we were able to play soccer, football, baseball, and we would have both of our backyards. We would combine it and we would have all that space. So it was pretty dope. I would say I was such a tomboy when I was younger. I don't know if it was by choice, but because there wasn't any other girls that would hang out, and I would pretty much just play with all of my brother's friends. As lame as that sounds, yes, I guess I had no friends, or I would just blame it that all my friends just didn't live in my neighborhood. I'm gonna try to make myself not sound that lame, and just say that, a lot of my friends did not live in my neighborhood, so that's why I had to play with my brother's friends. I don't know if that made it even better or not, but we're just gonna pretend that I am actually cool. I lived a really good life. My parents gave me a lot, honestly. I think we had a good life. It was nice that they bought us stuff for us to be outside all the time. I remember that getting ready for school, I would always eat cereal and watch cartoons in the morning. I would say that I was a Nickelodeon kid. I would watch Rocket Power, Cat Dog. I'm pretty sure that was Nickelodeon. Rugrats, Wild Thornberry. I was more of a Nickelodeon kid. I wouldn't really watch Disney until I got a little bit older, and I would start watching like the Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens, That's So Raven, Kim Possible, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So I would watch more like, or Hannah Montana. I was a Hannah Montana girl too. But honestly, Lizzie McGuire is iconic. I love that show. And I love Hilary Duff. She's iconic. I love her. And, also, what's that one with Selena Gomez? Wizards of Waverly Place with Selena Gomez. Also iconic. I love Selena Gomez. So she is iconic as well. Yeah, so I would say that I was a Nickelodeon kid. I would watch a lot of Nickelodeon. I didn't really watch Cartoon Network. The only thing that I would watch on Cartoon Network was the Powerpuff Girls, and I would proclaim myself as Bubbles. Oh, I watched Sailor Moon, and I watched Totally Spies, which I'm not sure if that was on Cartoon Network or on Disney, maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember my little brother, he would watch Courage of the Cowardly Dog, and yo, let me tell you, that was scary. Like, I don't know how kids would watch that, and if you watch that, man, you were built different. Or I'm just a scaredy cat, because geez, that thing was a little sketchy, a little sketchy. Not gonna lie. But like I said, if you watch that, you were built different for real. And so yeah, you tell me. Leave a comment down below. Were you a Nickelodeon, a Disney, a cartoon? Also, the PBS Kids. PBS Kids is, I liked watching Clifford, Curious George, Arthur. What else would I watch? I think those were like the main ones that I would watch. But you know, there were some other shows I would watch randomly too. The one with the turtle. What's that one? Dang it. Franklin. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. That one was nice too. Can't forget SpongeBob. SpongeBob is iconic in our household. Between me, my brother, and a few of my cousins, we can reference SpongeBob lines like if we're just having a normal conversation. We love SpongeBob memes. SpongeBob, the earlier SpongeBob, OG SpongeBob, that was my jam. I loved that. And I would eat that up. I would still watch that. I would still watch SpongeBob even when I was in my late teens. We stand for SpongeBob here. Yeah, kid shows. That was the mornings, was eating cereal, watching my favorite cartoons. My favorite cereal would be Fruity Pebbles. Honestly, number one would be Fruity Pebbles, and then second one would be Trix. I wasn't really a big fan of any of the chocolatey ones or anything like that. So those would be my top two cereals. So ideally, if I had the most perfect morning routine before school, it would be a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and watching Rocket Power or Rugrats. So my way to go to school was going on the bus, and so I rode the bus for school. There were so many times throughout my whole school years I was running late. I feel like I said, it's just part of me, okay? I feel like just running late, I don't know. No matter, I could be like straight up chilling, and for like I don't know, for some odd reason, I'm like, yeah, let me just do something, knowing that the bus is going to come, or knowing that, you know, this is the time that the bus usually comes. And like I said, I would be chilling, watching TV, eating my bowl of cereal, and in the last minute, I'm like, yeah, I need to brush my teeth, finish combing my hair, whatever the case may be. And I'm always running late. I remember that I would run to the bus multiple times, to the bus stop multiple times, and I remember in the winter, that sucked because I ate dirt plenty of times. I fell on my butt plenty of times because of ice. And yeah, that was probably like the best thing. That was probably the best thing to watch, you know, seeing other people eat dirt. And I've also ate dirt getting up on the stairs. Yo, like, honestly, the stairs to get up to the bus, like, those were pretty steep. Or maybe I was just a clumsy kid. Who knows? But yeah, so my my way of transportation to school was going on the bus, which I love the bus. The bus was fun until you get into like high school and stuff, and you're like, nah, not for me, fam, because it would at least take you an hour to get home. As soon as I was able to drive, I was like, not me, fam. And then there was some times where I had to ride the bus during my freshman year, which sucked, because you know what? My cousins would leave me. They would be like, I'm sorry, my car is full. Yo, you would take a girl instead of me? Your poor little cousin over here having to ride the bus? That's messed up. That's messed up. I remember, you know, coming home from school too, and I was always starving. Were you guys starving, or was it just me? I'm pretty sure, because we would eat lunch like almost at the crack of dawn. I'm just being over exaggerated, but like we would eat lunch pretty early. I remember like eating elementary school lunch. Honestly, the most iconic lunch day was when we had the pizza, but our pizzas were like the rectangle shapes. Like for some reason, those pizzas just hit different. And you know, I could possibly offend other people, but when it was French toast stick day, bleh, I was like, this is lame. This is whack. Why do I want to have breakfast again? So anybody else that got offended, I'm sorry, but I had to say it. You know, French toast day was not the best day, okay? So, yeah, going back to coming home always hungry and starving. One of our go-to like afternoon snacks before my mom would make dinner was pizza rolls or chimichangas. Me and my brother would eat those up. And the pizza rolls, you know, it was so funny because me and my brother would do pizza roll contests to see who would eat our pizza rolls the fastest. Honestly, really, really, why would we try to do a competition? I don't know. I don't know, for real. Like, yeah, so we would see who would eat the most pizza rolls or see who would eat the pizza rolls the fastest. And we would also have the chimichangas. Those things were good. And if you would put like a slice of cheese on top and microwave it, and it's like ooey gooey, or if you were fancy and you were able to use the stove responsibly, you would just like put your chimichanga on there, and it would be on the top. It would be all crispy and nice and gooey. I was a chef back then. In elementary school, I could make macaroni and cheese or sopa maruchan. You know, I was a chef. If I had to survive by myself, I could. Also, I think, you know, I could also make huevo. Like huevo con chorizo, huevo con jamón. Anything huevo con huevo, for real. Honestly, if I could go back, like, those are solid memories that I have with my brother, shoving pizza rolls down our throats and seeing who can eat the fastest. For real. And so I was little when we had the phones. We didn't have any cell phones or anything like that. And we had our landline phone, our house phone, and that was iconic. It was, honestly, do we want to bring that back? Do we want to bring house phone? Does house phones still exist? That's a serious question. Like, for real, do house phones still exist? Or is it just all, like, everyone just have cell phones now? Let me know. Do you personally have a house phone still? If you do, iconic. Iconic for real. And why do you have one if you have a cell phone? Serious question, for real. We would have a phone book also back then. That was iconic. And so whenever I was trying to call my friends, I would go through the phone book and try to search their name and everything like that. That was pretty iconic too. Obviously, it would be their parents' name, not their name. I remember having the phone book or just going through the phone book and just seeing random people. And whoever would prank call people, yo, honestly, why didn't I think of that? I'm prank calling people. That would have been the move. is it just a Latino thing, or is it just everyone in general? But like when your parents were on the phone and you had to talk to relatives, like by force, they'll be like, yeah, here's the phone. They want to say hi. And you're like, who is it? They have to be like talking on the phone and be like, hi. And try to make a short conversation, even though like you had no idea who it was. Yeah, my dad used to do that. And it was a little traumatizing. Going into the segue of growing up Latino. Growing up in a Latino household, you know, one thing that gives me PTSD is hearing my mom play loud music. And we weren't really like a cumbia type of family. It was more like norteños. But oh my gosh, when you would hear that music blare loud and you were still in bed, you knew to get your butt up in 5 seconds. If not, your dad will come or your mom will come with the chancla. But you knew you had to get up. If they were up, everyone's up. And if my mom was cleaning, everyone was cleaning. Our house had to be spotless. Our rooms had to be spotless. Even if it had no one was coming over, our rooms had to be spotless. Also, isn't it funny how our rooms had to be like picture perfect when we would have like people come over or family come over? You're like, yeah, are we gonna have the party over outside, or are we having the party in my room? Like, come on. Now I probably give my kids PTSD because I will play cumbia. I play all sorts of music when I am cleaning, and I do have that thing full on blast, so you know that I am serious, that no one can make a mess or even breathe at this point, because I am cleaning the whole house and I want it to be spotless, at least for a couple hours, because does not suck when you clean and then in the next 2 minutes it's just all destroyed again and you're like, wow, I did all that work. Or you know what really gets me off is when you clean the toilet, when you clean the bathroom, and then your significant other just goes in there and just bombs it. I'm like, great, yes, I just cleaned that and you just decided to bomb it because your butt got to sit on a fresh, clean toilet. Don't get me started. I'm about to be like, ugh. Another thing growing up Latino is when you are hungry and you want to heat up leftovers or anything like that, you would find random tubs. That is one thing about Mexican moms, is they will use anything to use as storage for leftovers. I remember, like, if I ever needed butter for some reason, I would open up the butter and it would be salsa or beans or anything other random. Thanks, Mom, for always allowing me to scavenger hunt my food and give me PTSD for when it was cleaning day. So thank you a lot for that. I will live that for the rest of my life. Also, growing up Latino, fast food was a luxury. You know, we would pass by fast food restaurants and we'd be like, man, like, we want that. Can we have McDonald's, or can I have a Happy Meal? And they'd be like, no, but no. Like, there's food at the house. You don't need that. We have frijoles, we have tortillas. Like, we're good. We can make huevo con huevo, huevo con salchichas, huevo con jamón, huevo with whatever else, whatever they can put it. Honestly, that is one thing about Mexican households, is that as long as we have eggs and any other sorts of meats, we can make dinner. We can be fed. And tortillas. Yeah, growing up Latino, that is a very humbling experience, let me tell you. But there's also the perks. When we threw family parties, we know how to throw family parties. The food is great. The music is great. Usually we have a lot of desserts or anything like that. Or when you go to birthday parties, the piñata is filled with wonderful Mexican candy. Whenever I would go to a birthday party and the piñata is filled with like old candy, not old candy, but like they're just like non-brand, not even Mexican candy, I'm like, I got ripped off. Like, no, this is not how a piñata is supposed to be filled up. Like, come on, people, get it together. You had one job, and you chose to get the most inexpensive, cheap candy. No. You gotta get the Mexican candy. If not, then well, why even getting piñata? Like, if you can't afford it, don't even do it. That was me selfishly when I was a kid. Like, my favorite Mexican candy would be the pelons, or the piña one with the chile, or the sandia with the chile. Those three, so delicious. But if I could choose, it would either be the piña one with the chile, that is like, it looks like a cut up piña, or the sandia. Those are so good. Yeah, Mexican parties were lit. And me and my other girl cousins would try to convince our parents for allowing us to, if the party was in a neighborhood or anything like that, we would love to go on a walk and talk about the latest gossip, boy drama, anything like that. Those were one of my core memories that I have with my cousins, is going on walks and just talking about boy drama. Mostly boy drama. Like, let's be for real. It was mostly boy drama. And I was there for the tea. I didn't really have much boy drama because I was the youngest out of my cousins, and plus I was a late bloomer. So, and my cousins, even though they were like a year or two older than me, they looked like they were 5 years older than me. Honestly, if I can insert a picture of me and my cousins when we were younger, you're like, I look like I was my age, 12, and my cousins were like 13, 14 at the time. They looked like more like 17, 16. And I was there all nerdy looking at the age of 12. Yeah. I'm a late bloomer. It's okay. You know, it's okay. I kind of embrace it now. It's fine. As the older I get, I feel better because I look a little bit younger. And I appreciate that now. But before then, when I was little, I hated that. I'm like, I want to look older. Because, like, not even the moscas me pelan at that time. Oh, man. I don't know how I made friends. And to be honest, I don't know how I had a boyfriend either. When the girls wanted to have a sleepover, that would rarely happen. We would have like a strategic plan. We would be like, all right, which of the dads got a little bit more juice than the other? And who are we going to ask to stay at? Where can we stay at? And usually, since I was the youngest, I would be the one asking, permission and all that stuff. And like try to get the rest of the uncles to agree that we can have a big sleepover. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes you gotta get what you can get. Also, it was a great time to ask for money too. So, life hacks. I also remember like at parties, all the tios would hang out in one side and all the tias would hang out on another side, and it was just all the chismes. If you wanted to know the latest gossip, if you wanted to know what was the tea, it was piping hot, you would hang out with the tias. Like I said, Latinos know how to party. You knew you were Mexican when you would sleep on the chairs, or you would see the babies, like random kids just sleeping on the chairs while the parents were out dancing. Like, you knew the party was lit when the kids fell asleep. You had the little kids falling asleep on the chairs, and you had the other kids just still running around, zooming, because we were just pumped with sugar. Like, how could we not be running around if we would be pumped with sugar? And the adults would be having their time of their lives and dancing on the dance floor. So I would say we know how to party. We know how to party. And now I am proud to be on the other side of the adults. And, I get it. I get it now. I get it. So you do what you got to do. You put your kids on the chair, or you put them at the car seat, or whatever you can find. You just put them in there and they're fine. You just check up on them. They're still breathing. All right, good. I'm going to go party. Hey, see, we don't leave our kids. We take them with us. They party with us. That was a little bit of my childhood. I've almost forgot Blockbuster. Blockbuster was the best thing ever. Like, I remember, like, it was just, it was just a whole, it was just a vibe. It was just a vibe going to Blockbuster, getting your movie, getting your popcorn too while you're there, and just being able to come back home and get to watch your movies with whatever movies. Usually I get to pick one movie that I get to watch with my siblings, and then my parents would watch, whatever movie they wanted to watch. Nowadays, since we have Netflix and all this other stuff, we really don't have the need for it, but I don't know, back then it was nice. I loved it. Blockbuster, so iconic. Is there any Blockbusters left, or any like other movie places? Is there any left? Please let me know if you do know if they are or not. Serious question. Or wherever you're from and you do have one still, that is iconic. And do people still rent out movies? Do people still use Redbox now that we have like access to like Netflix, HBO, Hulu, and all that stuff? I don't know. Does Redbox still exist, and do people really use it? As you get older, then there is your teenage years. My teenage years were really awkward. Maybe I'm just an awkward kid. Who knows? Being born in the 90's and pretty much growing up in the early 2000s, all the kids that were born in the 90's, you know that we were the generation of technology coming in. So we had the luxury of getting to spend most of our childhood without electronics. And as soon as we were getting older, then the wave of electronics was coming in. I think it was a pretty cool transition, not gonna lie, because like when you're younger, you really didn't really need phones or anything like that. But as soon as we were getting older, like going into middle school and all that stuff, we were able to experience the wave of like electronics and all that stuff. In middle school, I would have my CD player, I got an MP3 player, and then I had the Apple. It was the small one. Oh man, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like the Apple Shuffle. I don't know. It was like the small one. It was a green one, and that was the last MP3 player type of thing that I had. I remember my CD player. I think my first CD, believe it or not, was Hilary Duff. I think it was like her first album, maybe. I remember middle school. If I could think of like iconic moments in middle school, was my MP3 player that I would download music through LimeWire. If anybody remembers LimeWire, before we had Pandora and Spotify, LimeWire was the it girl. She was iconic, and that's where you would get all your music from. And you would make your CDs eat too. Honestly, I felt it was so nice when you were able to make a fresh CD, and then you get to put the title of the CD, and then you would put your numbers and be like, track 1 is yada yada, track 2 is yada yada. And so it was nice. And I would also steal my mom's CDs too. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, that was one thing. LimeWire. Myspace was a thing. I had Myspace when I was in middle school, and honestly, I'm very curious. What do you remember your username from MySpace? Honestly, I love my username. It could be a little cringy or whatever, but my username was LaCutie101, and if I could bring her back, I would. I like her, okay? And she was cool. She's iconic. I would bring her back. I think I should make a social media account that says LaCutie101. I think she would do good. She's my alter ego. But I remember MySpace. It was so good. You would have your top 8 friends, and sometimes your top 8 friends, it would create a little bit of beef, a little bit of drama when you would see people get moved around and everything. It was interesting to see, like, when you would go to other people's pages and like you would see their top 8, or sometimes some people would only have like 4 up there or anything like that, and you would see like the first person like being moved or X'd out. You're like, T, what happened? Did they break up? Is it somebody that they got in a fight with? It was a lot of tea, a lot of drama. That honestly, do we wish for MySpace to come back? I like it. I think I would want it to come back. MySpace was so like very customized, and it would show like your personality. So I think it's nice. Honestly, if we could bring back MySpace and be able to customize your page and all that stuff, like I think it would be nice. Also, like you get to put music, and you, as soon as you would go into somebody's page, you would get to listen to their music and all that stuff, and then you would see like their graphics, what they would do, other fun facts about them. Like honestly, she was an it girl. She was iconic. And does it still exist? I don't know if it does or not, but the trend should come back. We should, come on, Gen Z, let's bring it back for the millennials out here. And I remember like in middle school, that's when I had my first flip phone, and I was that hit girl, not gonna lie, because I had the pink razor. She was so cool. I wish I had her still, but I'm pretty sure I traded her in order for me to upgrade for a new phone. But yes, I was one of those girls that had the pink razor. I think when I got my phone, it was unlimited texting and could only call for free after 9. So if I was going to use up my minutes, I was going to use it throughout the day, but I could call for free after 9. So it was funny whenever I would be on the phone and I would be talking to my mans back then, and it would be after 9, and I would be like, you would be talking, or we would be talking, whatever, and then all of a sudden I can hear like, because my bedroom was downstairs in the basement, and my parents, we only had like first level home, and so I would hear my parents go, usually my dad, and I would be like, oh shoot. And I would like hide, I would be like this, I would hide my phone, and I'd be like sleeping. And I would be just waiting to see if my dad would go down the stairs, or what he was doing. And most likely he was getting up, and then he was just checking to see if we were still awake. But yeah, it was just funny where you have to be like, shh, be quiet, don't talk, don't breathe, because I hear my parent. And not gonna lie, I think I got caught like twice. More than that, who knows? But yeah, I guess I wasn't as slick as I thought I was. Going back to like middle school and high school, like I've mentioned before, middle school I was pretty nerdy. I was pretty nerdy for most of it. Not until like 7th or 8th grade, that's when I like wanted the attention of boys and all that stuff. And I remember that my first boyfriend was in 7th grade, and it only lasted for a week. So does that technically count as a first boyfriend? Who knows? But it's on there. And yeah, it only lasted for a week. Fun fact, anybody else, what was your shortest relationship? I remember talking with my husband, and he told me that he dated a girl for only a weekend because he felt bad. And I was like, dude, that's a little messed up. I think like my first boyfriend, it was 7th grade, and it only lasted for a week. And kudos to him that he was the first boy to ask me out. I respect that. You deserve some props. Fun fact, my husband now, he was my boyfriend in 8th grade. He ended up being my main chamalan for my quinceañera, and he was also my prom date for senior year. How iconic is that? Also, going into high school, I had my Sweet 15, and my dress was a lime green dress. Honestly, why did I do that to myself? First of all, I was super tan because I played soccer, and then wearing a lime green dress, it made my tan even worse. And back then you also had to make it a theme, and my theme was Tinkerbell. Honestly, I love Tinkerbell, but Priscilla, you could have done better than that, especially with the lime green dress. Like, we could have done better, but you know what? It is what it is. If I will insert pictures, I will. Talking about being 15, I remember that as soon as I turned 16, I had my first job, and my first job was McDonald's. I knew how to salt those fries. They were the best. And honestly, McDonald's was a pretty good job for my first job, to be honest. I had pretty much a lot of my family members work there for their first jobs. I had some of my cousins working there when I was starting there. I had eventually my brother started to work there. A few of my other cousins started to work there, so it was fun. The perks of working at McDonald's was back then when I was still working there, we would have one meal for free, and I was usually at the register for the drive-thru, and behind me was the oven for the cookies. So it was nice. I was in charge of baking the cookies, and when the cookies were freshly baked and they were all nice and warm and ooey gooey, I had to have one. I had to get one. You know, you had to do a taste test. I had to make sure that the quality of the cookie was good, okay? My favorite position working at McDonald's was working in the drive-thru in the register. My least favorite was working in the front register or working in the drive-thru window giving out the orders, because man, oh man, let me tell you, the people are so rude. And especially when you would have to tell them, like, hey, like, pull forward, your food will be up, they will yell at you like, yes, like it was me. Like, I'm not the one that's making the food for you. Don't be cussing me out or throwing a tantrum at me. Like, I'm just here delivering the food out, giving it to you, and double checking that everything is there. It's not my fault if the food is taking forever. It's not my fault that, you know, for some odd reason somebody got your order wrong or assembled your sandwich wrong. It's not my fault. You can either blame it on the person that handles your order or blame it on the assembly team, but not on me. After McDonald's, I worked at Menards, which it wasn't bad. I just don't like dealing with money, to be honest. I didn't like being in the register. And then you had creeps, and so I didn't like it. So I only lasted at Menards for like 3 months, and that was it. And then after that, I worked at the school, which I love my job. It was a good time. And I have mentioned that before in another previous episode. And so, yeah, my first job was McDonald's. And luckily, I can say that I was blessed enough to have a car and to be able to drive around. And I had a Mazda 3. It was red, and his name was McQueen. If you didn't name your cars, did you really love your car? To be honest, like, think about that. Did anybody else name their first car or are still naming their cars? You know, my Mommobile, the car that I have right now, or the little SUV that I have right now, she's the Mommobile. Nothing too special. It's just the Mommobile. But my first car, my red Mazda, he was my baby, and he was called McQueen. I loved him. And then we also had another car, because at the time I was lucky enough that I would drive the Mazda around more often. But at the time there was another car. I don't know what it was, but it was just a winter beater, and my brother would usually drive that around, and we called him Rusty, and he was cute. But yeah, that was our cars. Honestly, I'm blessed. I could say that I was blessed. I was fortunate enough that my parents, you know, gave us, both me and my brother, a car, and we pretty much shared it because we had different schedules or yada yada yada, so we pretty much shared the car. But since I was the oldest, I think I drove it majorly until I went to college, and then obviously my brother took over that car. But yeah, it was iconic. And after I came back from college, they pretty much gave me that car. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for McQueen and all the memories that I had with that. And honestly, if I can go back and give myself a word of advice to my younger self, honestly, I would tell her to enjoy life. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't really worry about your clique or your group of friends that you have in high school. Honestly, most of them, we all fizzle out. We all move on with our lives. We go to college. Some of us go to college. Some of us go straight to the workforce. Some of us go into military. Some of us like move out of the country. Some of us move different states. Like your clique or your image in high school, honestly, I would say it's pretty irrelevant. If there are people out there that really care about how relevant you were in high school, honestly, they need to first move on. You're not in high school, my friend, and there is more to life than what you were, because like how we said, each stages of our life, each season of our life, we grow. And even from like 2 years ago, from who I am today, like I'm different. I have, through a lot of growth, through humbleness, through life experiences and all that stuff, like you expand and you grow and you absorb more knowledge, and you get to learn more and more of yourself as you go through each season of life. So that's what I would just tell my younger self, is that to enjoy your youth, enjoy being silly, enjoy being reckless, enjoy not having responsibilities, because as soon as you get into the adult world, you have responsibility, you have, whatever you go in your life, you have to figure it out. And there are perks of going into adulthood. You get to marry the love of your life, you get to experience having a family. There's all these beautiful things also in adulthood. But when you're young, just enjoy it. Be happy. You don't need to think deep of who you are or what you're going to be when you're young. You have a lot to grow, a lot to learn, and don't rush it. Enjoy being a kid. Enjoy being reckless. Enjoy doing dumb things, because that's what it is. And that's what I would tell my young self. Also, I would tell her that she is worth more than her image. Her personality, the way that she is worth so much. And I wish I had a big sister, but you know what? It is what it is. And luckily, I went through what I went through. And I hope that all the things that I went through can help another person out that is going through it or that went through it, and they feel connected by one shape, way, or form. Also, one thing that I would tell my younger self is happiness always wins. Have a good day, guys. Bye.